Hi friends, welcome back. So I want to have a chat with you about what does it mean to make it and what are your goals in life. And I want to start this discussion with talking about Terminator 2 and Robert Patrick. Now, when I was a kid, this was the most popular movie out when I was in high school. And in fact, we all knew who Schwarzenegger was. He was on, the movie poster. And it's funny because if you actually look at the movie poster, it's just him. And even though Robert Patrick has a massive role, and if you don't know it, that's the guy who plays the evil robot. I didn't know his name or know much about him. And in fact, I want to talk about sort of why that is. He recently gave an interview about this and talks about his career. So let's go over this, and I think you'll find this really interesting. So he says, this is Robert Patrick. He says, I think about it now. I mean, I feel like I lost a lot of momentum after T2, and that refers to Terminator 2. So I feel like I lost a lot of momentum after T2 for a number of reasons. I'm an alcoholic. I'm not turning this into a thing, but I am an alcoholic, and I was a big substance abuser and alcoholic prior to T2. I got myself clean and sober at 4T2 because I knew that I could not do that film with the recreational activities that I had going on, nor was I going to be able to drink the way I was. I had to go and be a monk. I had to focus. If I had to do the film. When it's over, of course, I go back and I hit it hard in a big way because now I've accomplished something. I wasn't mature enough to handle, even though I was 30 years old, and I rewarded myself by partying for like 2 years, like 3 years, like 4 years, until I finally realized, oh my God, I destroyed this great gift of momentum I've gotten. I don't think I'd prepare myself for some of the opportunities that were presented and therefore didn't get the jobs. I think that I had a little bit of more of a mentorship-ish relationship with someone that could have been because I shifted agents at the same time. I left my agent to do some new agents. They didn't really know me. They didn't know how crazy and insecure I was. They didn't know my story, and I wasn't prepared for being famous. All of a sudden, and I wasn't really famous because no one knew who the F Robert Patrick was. I was the guy from T2. So I've told you guys many times I used to work in Hollywood in this industry, and I can just tell you a lot of people fall for this kind of trap. There are essentially drugs and alcohol and substances everywhere. And, essentially every day you have to make a choice of what kind of life do you want to live. That's why I always talk about these things, because it's the temptations are everywhere. And especially for someone like a Robert Patrick, where, you're starring in the biggest movie out, for the couple of years, Terminator 2. I mean, it was a massive movie. And, you have all this momentum in your career. And basically for him, he's just like, you know what? I'm just going to party for 3 or 4 years and celebrate and sort of ride off of that. And a lot of people fall into that trap. And the reason why I started this video with the question of, what do you want out of life? What are your goals? Is because ultimately you have to ask yourself in this kind of situation is, what is the most important thing to you? Is it going out drinking, doing partying, or is it continuing this momentum in your career? And it's going to be a different answer for every person, but I want you to think about consciously, right? When these things are happening to you, to make the decision, not just necessarily make decisions in the spur of the moment. When you make decisions, think about your long-term implications and what you ultimately want out of life. And I want to give you some ideas to think about what are your goals and what does it mean to make it. Empower recently asked young people these questions, and they ranked them in order of what was important to them. But think about for yourself what is important to you. And I'll go through these. These are in alphabetical order. Number one, what does it mean to make it? So being able to spend money without worrying. 2, being able to pay my bills on time. 3, being able to retire comfortably. 4, being financially independent, not relying on anyone else for money. 5, buying a home. 6, buying luxury items I want. 7, having a job I love. 8, making a certain amount of money. 9, moving up in my career / getting promoted. And 10, not having to work at all. So when you take a look at a list like this, I'm just telling you guys, there is no wrong answer. You have to decide what makes sense for you. If you want to hear my particular point of view on this kind of stuff, I actually write about it in my book, Positive English, to kind of share my thoughts of what I was searching for in my life, and moreover, try to help you figure out what makes sense for you. That's the sort of what this book is all about. I just share my experience the same way Robert Patrick shares his. I think these kind of experience are important because these days, a lot of young people are really struggling. I saw this article just today. It says, this coming from I think it was the Bloomberg, many younger Americans don't see a path to retirement, right? And it gave the numbers here. It was saying, if you're between ages 22 to 34, 21% of the people think retirement is out of reach or not part of the plan. If you're 35 to 49, about 11% of the people think that. Now, even though the headline of the article is focused on retirement and young people, in fact, there was a couple other data points that really stood out to me. I'll tell you. So first was rate mental health as excellent / very good. If you were ages 35 and above, 65% of those people said, okay, my mental health is excellent or very good. If you're ages 22 to 34, only 48% of the people said their mental health was excellent or very good. We had this one also as well. Have a high satisfaction with life. If you're age 35 plus, 60% of those who responded said, hey, I have a high satisfaction with life. Whereas younger people, ages 22 to 34, only 39% said they had higher satisfaction with life. And so I want to go back to this list again here about being able to do all of these things, being able to spend money without worrying, being able to pay my bills on time, being able to retire comfortably, being financially independent, not relying on anyone else for money, buying a home, buying luxury items I want, having a job I love, making a certain amount of money, moving up in my career / getting promoted, not having to work at all. I want you to honestly sit down and think about a list like this, about what truly makes you happy, because I'm just going to tell you the truth, guys, in these kind of things. Being mentally happy is the most important thing in life. I'm being really serious here. It's not about any particular dollar amount, and that's just my opinion on these things. So when I show you a list like this, there's a couple things I want you to be thinking about, right? What's going to keep you mentally happy, and what's going to make you satisfied in life? Because honestly, it's going to be different for everyone, but I want you to be conscious on these things. Don't just necessarily follow the crowd. Don't necessarily just follow what the people say on social media. Figure out what makes sense for you. So I hope this sort of introspective talk is interesting and useful for you. Honestly, it's stuff that I think about all the time. And when people ask me, hey, Chris, what's your secret to being young? It's stuff like this, being conscious of what makes me happy. So I do appreciate your time, everyone. I hope to hear your thoughts on these things, and I'll catch you in the next video.